to review an agreement with Building B. So I need to have a motion to add that to the agenda.
I move that we add that item to the agenda.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
And if it pleases the commission, if we could just take that up after item 10 at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Very good. And today we have a bunch of Sand Creek people here. They're going to give a presentation, but I want to give a shout out to James. Today's National Superintendent's Day. So, James, we appreciate all you do, and I hope your day was filled with ice cream and pizza. Okay, well that's even better. So
There you go.
anyway, Dustin, if you want to come up and
We're going to do the minutes first.
see, I got so excited about golf, I just lose my mind. So we need a motion to approve the August 27th minutes.
I move.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, anything else before Dustin comes up? So here we go.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for allowing us and giving us some of your time. I know you guys have a busy schedule, so we promise to keep this brief, not as long as Chris's, right? So first thing I wanted to start off with is just, again, just a big thank you to the City of Newton, to all of you guys for your support in making this championship possible. Honestly, you know, couldn't have done it without you guys, couldn't have done it. It truly was a partnership, and it showed on all levels, as I'll touch on in this presentation. But it was such a great community event to bring everyone together and make a lasting impact on these players' lives. And I think, you know, more was said vice versa, and more of those players had a lasting impact on some of our community members' lives, just with the struggle and what they deal with on a day-to-day basis. It was truly inspiring, very humbled and grateful. So thank you again. I would like to present to the City of Newton a championship flag that's signed by all 96 competitors of the 3rd U.S. Adaptive Open.
Wow.
Cool.
Can we clap for that? Wow. How did you
Mayor,
work
come
that
down.
out?
All of them come down. Yeah.
Get in there, Dustin. Smile big. Maybe come to the side. Yeah, why don't you? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Are you getting in?
No, no.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you guys very much. Again, thank you guys very much. Truly, I'm going to keep saying it, I promise. So just we put together a quick presentation, just a recap of the Adaptive Open and its overall impact on the community, Sand Creek Station, and kind of some feedback from the players, which was great to hear. Instead of the video recap, I'm just going to read a couple quotes really quick from players. They send out a survey, a player survey to every 96 one of the competitors, and it's very detailed. Just some of the responses from Randy Shack, one of the seated players. My experience here has been amazing. The people are so nice. The greens and fairways are just so beautiful. Everyone has been so accommodating. You need something, and there's someone right there to help you out. It's amazing to have that type of experience. And all the way from the volunteers to the staff, everybody as a community. That's a testament. I couldn't tell you how many times I heard everyone in the blue shirts, which were the volunteer uniforms, how on the spot they were, how they came to their shifts with smiles on their faces. That really impacted these players. They felt welcomed. And just as a reminder, this was the first championship outside of Pinehurst, and Pinehurst is a world-renowned golf resort. And they came to Newton, Kansas, and we set the bar high, guys. We really did. Another overall feedback about this is in the handout as well. I apologize. I should have mentioned that. Overall feedback about Sand Creek Station from the USGA on-course operations was cited as the most well-run element of the championship. This includes practice range, signage, volunteers, restroom access, and etc. So I just wanted to point that out. Again, it's a testament to everybody. It really was a community event, pulled everyone together, and we put on a great show for the USGA. So it was pretty exciting. Wanted to share that with you all. Moving on to the community and economic impact. The community impact, as you can see there, one of our pass holders, Tom Richardson, stands there with Amy Bockerstedt, who round one of the championship, she shot her personal best 83, and she was very excited. And so he made her, and we assisted, helped in a plaque that she could take home. And they still stay in touch to this day. They swap numbers. It's a great story. And I think Tom's actually planning a trip at some point in time to go up there and see her. We were able to leverage the media momentum to enhance the brand visibility and community engagement just overall between local businesses. As you'll see here, we were able to utilize Prairie Harvest Prairie Harvest, the ice cream, the Salted Creamery, for Tuesday's Ice Cream Social, which was a huge success. Had players come and actually buy extra ice cream to take with them back to their hotels, which was fantastic. We used Norm's Coffee, Ashley Lakey, and Tammy for our volunteer breakfast needs. And it was fantastic to be able to utilize local businesses and get the names and their business out there to these players. I know they're not going to frequent Newton every day, but still it was a chance for them to showcase their product and, again, our community. It wasn't Starbucks. It was Newton, really, providing some of the key essentials to keeping the volunteers running that everyone was so happy about. So it was awesome. It was really, really cool to see. Ice cream was fantastic, and I wanted to share this slide in particular just because the number you see up there is a pretty big number. It's 1.02 billion total impressions, and that's throughout all of the social media channels. That's TV, Instagram, radio, everything, which is a really big number. Annie, our regional sales and marketing director, who I'll introduce in a minute, is going to come up and she'll explain kind of what entails an impression. But still, that's as many times as Sand Creek Station in the city of Newton was viewed throughout this championship. So again, very, very impressive. The USGA put a lot of backing and power behind the social media aspect and making sure the world knew as much as they can. And I truly do believe this will be on ESPN in 2 to 3 years. I really do. So it was great exposure for the community, and again, super grateful we put on a great show. The PR and the marketing coverage, I'm going to bring Annie up here. This is Annie Carey. She's our regional sales and marketing director with Kemper Sports.
Thank you, Dustin. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much again for your time to have us here today. We can all agree that this week was, can you guys hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. This week was very exciting for everyone here in Newton and for Sand Creek Station, and it was a very successful week. We were able, we had the golf week capture, the golf media capture for us for this event the whole week, included the Golf Channel, other golf outlets, including the biggest magazines in the industry. So it was really exciting to see that all golf eyes were in this event as well. We had local media coverage, as you can see. Those outlets also were present at the event, and it was nice to see how they were really focused on the community engagement, the impact that the tournament had on the community, as well as sharing all the participants' stories. As we were all inspired by that as well. And then I'll just present you a little bit of the performance that we did on our own, meaning on our social media channels, because we know since the beginning when Chris brought this to our attention, to Val and I, we really wanted to make sure one of our main goals was to gain as much exposure as we could from this. Obviously, it's a great tournament with the USGA, but we wanted to make sure that we maximize that opportunity being part with the USGA. So we really used our social media channels. We created this very extensive social media plan, especially through our outlets. So these results are from our social media on Facebook. Again, like Dustin mentioned, we had great exposure. We were able, during the week of the event, we were able to add 110 followers to Facebook alone, which, if you know, it's pretty good. Normally in a month you add like 10 to 30 followers. And then we had over almost 50 social media posts. And then we had almost 100,000 impressions. And you can think of impressions as views. Every time somebody on your phone or on the computer or anything looks at our content, that's an impression. Just in case you didn't know, I wanted to mention that. And engagement, we have 13,000 total engagement just on Facebook alone, and that's when somebody comments, likes, or shares our content. So we were really engaging with and that was our main goal, and that's the main goal on social media, to connect with people and to have them react. And obviously, this was a great opportunity. Same thing on social media. That was our main goal on this event as well, to grow that following. We were able to double our followers on Instagram alone. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, that we only have 1,200 followers, but we are going to continue to grow. I mean, to double it in a week, that was pretty amazing to do, and we'll continue to do this. This is a main focus of us because this is where the new golfers and the new generation is. As you know, the new golfer that came into COVID and the younger generation, it's on Instagram. So that's something that we'll continue to focus on. But I want to highlight that 180,000 impressions, again, views. It's really impressive with 73,000 total engagements. You can see the round one recap that we did. We had videographers out there on our own, and that had almost 14,000 impressions. And actually, Mac's video, that's one of the sitting players. We did interviews with players that you'll see more and more, and hopefully you're following us. But that had 22,000. So it's just, people are really connecting, and that's the whole point of power of social media, connecting with us and engagement with the followers. We also utilize Camper Sports social media and relations to kind of, again, maximize the opportunity that we have with this event. So those are the results that we did. We had somebody dedicated at our home office at Camper Sports in Chicago, tracking all the media outlets that were coming in, all the impressions that we had on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And that's the handout that you have in your hands. That's all the articles that came out and all the TV spots and everything that was covered, just so you have it. And we'll have a digital version to Daniela so that you can click on everything. If you click on the link, you'll see the article. But again, everybody, we were very proud and very, very honored to be part of Sand Creek Station and this event as well. And finally, we really utilized, like I said, we were very honored to be part of USGA, and we know they have a huge following, more than we can, ever had. So we wanted to collaborate with them and make sure that their followers saw us as well, and then follow us. And we have almost 100,000 impressions. And then I want to highlight a big, if you haven't seen this video, I don't know that we'll have time today, but I would recommend go on our channels and see it from this player, Isa. He has almost 1.8 million impressions to date. And it continues to go, and that's when you call a moment going viral. And we really truly hope that it helps him. He's a player from Africa that made the journey here to play, and he's a double amputee, and it was very impressive to see his story and very inspirational. I recommend, if you haven't seen it, to see it. And with that, post coverage, we know that the championship is over, but our work is not. So we'll continue to, now that we have all these new followers following Sand Creek Station, and we need to make sure we engage with them. So we'll continue to keep the championship alive as much as we can. as well with the content of our, Sand Creek Station Daily. They do a lot of tournaments. As you know, they do an amazing job with the day-to-day. So we'll continue to do that. We have great drone that we got and great photography of the golf course that we'll continue to share. And that's, coming more and more. And then something that, we'll continue to focus on is the recognition that we also got after this event. Last week, and I don't know if you have seen this or not, but Golf Magazine recognized Sand Creek Station as one of the best golf courses in the country for under $100. And, if you see the list, again, you have the link on the handout. It's pretty awesome to be among all the other courses in the country and be recognized. And we expect to see more and more of this as well. Oh. There we go. But I think all of us can agree that this could not have happened without, obviously, the support from the city and the support from the team at Sand Creek Station. So I just want to recognize them. There, if you guys can stand up. Dustin, Tristan,
Yes,
Lori, James,
absolutely.
and a lot more. They work really hard, hours, long days, weeks in preparation, and I think they did a fantastic job. So I just want to make sure we recognize them and thank them. I'm having trouble with this. I mentioned this video. We were going to play it for you, but I encourage everybody to go see it and continue to follow us on social media. But with that, I think we'll open it for any questions, comments, anything that anybody may have.
So what's the possibility in 3 years, 2 years? How long do you have before you can be considered again?
Actually, we are talking to, not the USGA about that, but to answer your question, we are talking about, I think it's Course Links? Oh, Central Links. It's another organization that puts on championships, and they want to create an adaptive open for just another tournament, and they want to host it at Sand Creek Station. So hopefully that's, coming good news for us in the future. As far as the USGA, I believe they have commitments through, I can't remember, 2-3 years.
26, yeah. So they have commitments through 25 and 26 for the adaptive championship, but this really establishes our relationship to host other USGA championships as well. We would love to have the adaptive back, so we've made it very abundant.
We make it very clear.
that we want our name in the hat, and then you, like, as a city, I think you guys impressed them very much with how much you worked with us to make this happen. Because not all the time does this happen where the city and the municipal golf course come together and provide such a great product, for these type of golf tournaments. So it was a huge statement with the USGA, and we did actually finalize an adaptive open. We're not going to call it Kansas because it's going to be open to other states as well. We're going to host the inaugural one at Sand Creek Station in 2025, September 10th and 11th. And it's going to be kind of our first Midwestern area open championship. Florida, Texas, Georgia, and another state, forgive me for not remembering, have done it for 5 or 6 years now, but we want to be and continue to be at the forefront of adaptive golf.
Wow. Good for you.
Good job.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We certainly value our relationship with Kemper Sports, and we are just awfully proud of the way this was handled. Condition of the course, the quality of the volunteers. It was awesome.
Sure was. Thank you for all your hard work, your good work. Thank you.
You can take the rest of the day off if you want. Okay, next on the agenda, Constitution Week. Mallory, are you hiding over there somewhere? There you are.
Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for being willing to approve this proclamation. My name is Mallory Morton, and I am here tonight on behalf of the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Newton chapter. Many of you may not be aware that the Newton chapter of DAR just celebrated its 120th anniversary this past April. So the proclamation for Constitution Week. whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law, and whereas September 17, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week.
Now therefore I, Rod Cry, Mayor of the City of Newton, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. Passed and adopted this 10th day of September, 2024. Okay,
I move that we accept the proclamation.
I second it.
got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you for reading. Oh.
Okay, General Obligation Bond Series 2024A. Garth.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Garth Herman with Gilmore and Bell, the city's bond counsel. I'm coming before you tonight in order to help present the results of the sale that the city held last week, and then to work through the three items related to ratifying and confirming the results of that sale. So just kind of a recap. So last week on Thursday, the city held a public sale of your Series 2024-A general obligation bonds to finance 5 different projects in the city, including the Autumn Glen 3rd edition paving and drainage improvements, portion of, or the library, the city library project, the 2023 C-Clip paving improvements, the improvements to Southeast 4th Street, and the improvements to the Southwest 24th Street Bridge. The bonds were sold the morning of last Thursday, September the 5th. The city received 6 bids at that public auction sale, which was a very good turnout for the city. The best bidder was an investment bank by the name of FHN Financial Capital Markets. They had a lowest true interest cost of 3.66%. So the way to think about that is the, let's call it the net interest rate to the city based on all of the bonds that were out there, 3.66%. We always like to look at what was the second place bid to see how close the market was on that. The cover bid, that second place bid, was 3.68%, so very, very close. So always when I look at that, I always like to think that if they're close like that, then that winning bid is probably a very good bid to the city. So as I mentioned, that winning bid was submitted by FHN Financial Capital Markets. It met the parameters that authorized the city to award that sale in advance of this meeting. The bid form was signed on Thursday. And now the actions before you tonight are 3 actions related to that sale and then to the ultimate issuance of these bonds. So the first action relates to receiving and ratifying the award of the sale of the bonds to FHN Financial Capital Markets. The second item will be to consider the adoption of an ordinance related to the authorization and issuance of these general obligation bonds. And then the third and final item will be the consideration of the adoption of a resolution. We always call this the bond resolution, that contains the form and the details of the bonds themselves. So that resolution is always a big 40-page document that basically spells out how the bond works, both the uses that the bond money is going to be used for, those projects that we mentioned, as well as the final repayment terms, including the interest rates, final principal amounts. There's also provisions in that bond resolution to allow the city to pay off those bonds early, or to refund those bonds in the future if the interest rate market would make it advantageous for the city to do that in order to save some money. All of the details of the bond and how it works, those are what are contained in that bond resolution. Finally, just kind of for the overall structure of this bond issue, your payments on the bond will begin in the year 2025, and your final payment is scheduled to occur in the year 2044. So with that being said, I will pause to see if there are any questions from the bench.
I guess my question is why are we skipping a payment in 2043?
Good catch on that. So the bonds, there will actually be a payment that's made in 2043 also. So the first 18 years of the bonds they have a scheduled principal and interest payment that occurs, every November the 1st. For marketing purposes, FHN, when they submitted their bid, they actually termed up. So they combined the last two maturities of the bonds, so the 2043 and the 2044. They made those into a single term bond in 2044. The city will still make a payment in 2043 related to that principal payment. It's just, it'll be a portion of it. And usually the net effect to the city is nothing, because you'll still make that principal payment in 2043. But the advantage to that from the investment bank's perspective is it allows them to market that bond to a customer in a certain way that would make that customer want to buy that bond at a certain interest rate. So in essence, that customer bought the 2043 and the 2044 bond, and they just put them together. From your books, from your payment schedule, it's going to look just like they were not termed up at all.
All right.
Great question.
Good catch, Ron.
Other questions or comments? So we need a bid to review and award the GO bonds.
Yes, so the first item would be a motion and a vote to ratify the award of the bonds. to
I move,
FHN.
I move that we receive and award the General Obligation Bond Series 2024A.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we need an ordinance.
That number would be 5155-24.
So we need a motion to consider the ordinance number 5155-24, authorizing and providing for the issuance of the GO bonds.
I would so move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution number.
Sure. G1344.
I move that we consider Resolution G1344, prescribing the form and details and authorizing and directing the sale of General Obligation Bond Series 2024-8.
I second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Thank
Thank
you all very
you.
much. Have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
you too. Okay, number 5, receive a notice to proceed with the track improvements for GAF.
Commissioners, in July of '23, the city approved a grant agreement with KDOT for rail improvements that would serve GAF and the other properties in the KLP. We received this grant due in part to GAF coming to Newton. The GAF provided the letter that was attached to this item on August 22nd, which was their notice to proceed. Because this was an economic development grant through the Department of Transportation, there were some statements in that document, and we needed a notice to proceed as far as the date that GAF would need the rail. And then that helps us be able to kick off the project and move forward. This item is just to make you aware that we have received that notice to proceed, and we will bring back to you plans and specifications and putting the project out to bid at a later date. But just wanted you to be aware that the project is moving forward. And we would just ask that you take action to receive the notice to proceed letter and direct us to move forward.
Okay. Any further comments, Chris?
I think Suzanne covered it well. I think it's important to note that per the development agreement, we have a good faith obligation to complete the track improvements within 2 years of the receipt of that letter. And then also the benefit to the city is that any costs that may not be received from the grant that Suzanne spoke of could potentially be reimbursed by GAF. So it gives us that benefit as well.
Okay.
That is all.
Questions or comments? So we need a motion to receive the notice and to proceed with the track improvements.
I move that we receive the notice and we proceed with the track improvements for GAF.
I second.
Only appropriate that a train would buzz in at the right time. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consider a City of Wichita Resolution as a good partner. Chris and Denise.
Either way. Okay, for sure. This is a Wichita bond issue for healthcare facilities revenue bonds. Per state statute, they can do a bond issuance if it affects properties that are within another city. The city would have to give an approval or not oppose it. So Newton isn't responsible for these bonds. We have really no liability to it. This is a refunding of a bond. We've, I believe, taken up this action a couple years ago when they were issued. But I think just a simple motion to receive and approve the action would suffice. Denise has a form that can be filled out. I think that's the first option on there would be to approve it.
Yeah, to governing body approve the issuance of the bonds at today's meeting.
So I think if we have that motion, then we can fill out the form and get it back to Wichita and they can go forward.
Okay.
I move that we receive the recommendation and
Approve the action.
approve the action. Okay.
Okay, got a motion to approve
I'll second that.
and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, consider the urban area boundary and functional classification review. Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners. Following every census, the Department of Transportation requests that all entities that are over 5,000 population consider urban area boundaries. There has been some concern or misunderstanding about the urban area boundary concept. The title is maybe a little confusing, but really it's shown on the map that Rebecca has up on the screen right now shows the urban area boundary, which means the area where we expect the city to grow within the next 5 to 10 years. KDOT sends us these every 7 to 10 years, typically after the census, and the gray area shows what KDOT believes to be that area that we would grow within in the next 5 to 10 years. And the thing that they were missing on this map, if you go to the next one, I believe we have, this, the yellow that was on that map shows the corporate limits. And the airport and the property that is just west of the airport all was not shown on that map. That area has been annexed into the city for several years now, since 2012, the airport, and then shortly thereafter, the Grow Now addition plat was also included. The area shown in blue is privately held property by a developer that we know is wanting to develop the property and would be wanting to come into the city once it's developed. And so I provide that on the screen so that you could see. Staff is in favor and recommends the boundaries that KDOT shows, plus the additional boundary that would show where the dotted line is, which is along First Street out to the eastern edge of the airport, and then along 12th Street back to the city. And so it encompassed that area within that boundary as well. And the reason that we're suggesting this is because the direction from the state is to consider the growth area that the city might have in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, because we already are expecting development here, it's already has property within that area that is in the city limits. We requested or suggested that this would be also included in that urban area boundary. And remembering, these boundaries are looking at the roadways. That's all. They're not, this isn't an area that we're saying we're going to go out and annex. It's not anything about zoning classifications. It's only about those traffic ways and the roadways. And if it's in a city urban area boundary versus a county urban area boundary, it means there are different state grants and things that are available depending on which area you are within. Because we have over 400 jobs out at the Newton City County Airport, and those people, most of them are traveling on 1st or 12th Street, we said it made sense that those traffic ways, those roadways would be considered within that UAB. We took this item to the county commission because the state would like to have consensus between the city and the county. I was over there this morning, and they did approve it as is submitted by staff. And if you approve it this evening, then what we would do is we send that off to the state. They will send us a resolution that is similar. I can't remember if I attached it in the packet or not, but we would pass a resolution then following that would get signed off on both governing bodies. And once we have the UAB determined, then we determine the functional classification of each roadway within that area. And I can't do that and bring you a recommendation until we know what the urban area boundaries are. And there's some specific criteria that surrounds those roadway classifications, and so we'll review that, including the UAB, assuming you would approve that this evening, and bring that back to you. Again, it's a planning process that the state looks at, and the federal government. This all stemmed from the 1973 Federal Aid Highway Act. So this is nothing new. We've done this a couple times in my career, and we're asking for you to approve what staff has requested and the county has also approved.
Was the county vote 3-0?
It was.
Good.
I knew Becky didn't understand it in the beginning, and I had phone calls today people thinking we were trying to.
We had a few phone calls, and we tried to clarify that.
I think everybody I talked to was satisfied, so. Yeah.
Just so that the quick recap, there were several questions at the county commission meeting just asking about, the other thing that I haven't really covered is they said, well, what about the area south of Newton, going towards Wichita? We talk about development going that direction. I said, yeah, that is definitely something that's still discussed. But we're saying within the next 5 to 10 years, we have a lot of land to fill in between now and then. And typically what would expand those boundaries is once we have utilities in. And we've spent several years now putting utilities in the ground to expand the areas into the gray area that's shown on the map. So we would want to fill those in before we extend additional utilities. We would be looking at a water and sewer master plan update in 2025, 2026, and that would look at the area south of town and how utilities might get extended into there in the future. But for now, we're looking at the areas that we already have utilities located. And back in the early 2000s, we extended a sanitary sewer out to the airport because the lagoons were failing out there. And then at a similar time, we extended utilities out to the Royer West area because the county had a lagoon system that was failing. And in order for us to provide water and sewer to that area, we needed to annex. And so that whole area out to West Road was annexed by the city at the county's request. So that's kind of how it works with planning and moving forward. We're looking at not just 5 years down the road, but 10, 15, 20, 25, and try and plan ahead because there's costs involved with all of those utilities and roadway improvements.
Questions or comments? So we need a motion
To approve the urban area boundary, we'll bring the functional classification back.
back, okay.
I move that we approve the urban area boundary.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, Blues, Brews, and Barbecue. Denise?
Okay, I'm just looking at this sheet, and it doesn't have anything on it. Is that what yours is showing as well? The application?
Mine has stuff on it.
Yeah,
Okay,
stuff
good.
on it. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So this is a request to have picnic tables, trash containers, snow fencing for the Blues, Brews, and Barbecue at the, on September 28th at Athletic Park. And they would just have talked to city staff about this. They are okay with this request, so I would recommend that we go ahead and approve the request for city assistance. And why I'm talking about that, I will just say they have also given you the temporary alcohol permit application, and that they meet all the requirements for that as well. So I would recommend approval of that. You would need 2 separate motions.
Okay, so we need 2 motions. Anybody have any questions?
I move that we approve the request for assistance with picnic tables, trash containers, and et cetera, et cetera.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And a motion to approve the temporary alcohol permit.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? United Way Chili Cook-Off temporary alcohol permit.
Sure. This event is also happening on September 28th, only it is going to be happening from 11 to 3 p.m. Grace Hill Winery is the one. They have a caterer's license, but they still need to have a temporary alcohol permit to sell at the chili cook-off, and they do meet all the requirements. I would recommend approval of that.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Delegates.
Yeah, each year at the League of Municipalities, they, because we are a city of a certain size, we have 4 voting delegates and 4 alternate delegates. And so I believe we have Rod and Melanie that are going, and Daniela. And so my recommendation would be that we put them as voting delegates. We can have up to 4. So if anybody else is wanting to go to the league meeting, let me know. I can get you registered.
And it's in Wichita, so.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the names mentioned above.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Building V contract.
Yeah,
Chris.
Mayor, I can cover this. This is an agreement with Emprise Bank relating to Building V. As you recall, in July, City Commission approved a very similar agreement. This version removes the tenant. We've just run into an issue with finalizing the agreement with the tenant, so we're kind of considering this a backup agreement. If I could get a motion for the mayor to sign it and for the agreement to be released if the prior agreement is not finalized, that would be great. Just as additional context, city sells the note and mortgage to Emprise as part of Building V. You approved this action. I've provided a red line. Sorry for the delay on this one. We weren't certain if it was going to be an agenda item, but there's really no substantive edits to that other than it simply removes the tenant as a party to the agreement.
You've teed this up as if it's going to finalize tomorrow?
Yeah, payment would be tomorrow. So that'll be on the bank, and if there's, They're waiting on essentially a signature and then a copy of the deed from the tenant. If they receive that, they're prepared to make the payment. We would have some leeway, obviously, but it was always set up that it would be, the money would be received the day after this meeting. The county approved this agreement this morning, so, and good catch. And I don't know if there would be a delay on that, but we would hope for payment tomorrow to finalize this one.
So what exactly is the motion now?
Sorry,
To
the
approve
motion,
the
go ahead.
New agreement is presented.
Okay,
Right,
And-
and
and to
it would just with the
authorize the mayor.
contingency of authorizing the mayor to sign it. I will then hold it. If the other agreement is not finalized, we would then provide this agreement to
So you're
Enterprise.
going to have two agreements in
Right,
effect, and we'll use one of them. depending
Exactly.
on what-
The previous one was a complicated one that had the original tenant plus Emprise's listed parties on the agreement.
it had 4 parties,
Right.
it included the tenant, right,
And-
this one
and
goes to
then the
3.
city and county, this reduces it, and if they're not able to get the tenant to the table to move it forward,
Exactly.
Emprise just says, put it in our name, we'll make you whole. move
Exactly,
forward.
right.
Right.
okay. I move that we approve the new agreement and for the mayor's authorization to sign it.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Probably nothing on the citizen forum, I would guess.
Nope.
Empty. Okay.
Chris.
So, let's go this way. If anybody has anything they want to share or any comments they want to make?
And just thank you to staff for all your hard work, and it's great getting that report on Sand Creek Station. And it's officially Charlie Robinson Day. It's his birthday, so I'm out here.
Thanks to staff and all that, and I appreciated the presentation on the adaptive golf course. That was great. There's a great team there. It's very encouraging to see that. So, and thank you to you all, too.
I have nothing, thank you.
Nothing.
No, sir.
Nothing.
Okay, I don't have anything either, so we are adjourned. You 7 people.